Okay, everyone. So I saw Spider Man No Way Home yesterday in the theaters, and I gave myself some time to actually sit with the movie and really think about it before I did my review. I didn't want to do just a review straight after I saw the movie. I wanted to actually give myself some time to think about it and, you know, really get my thoughts together before I did my review. So I'm here. I've given myself enough time, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on this movie. I really, really like this movie. I really enjoyed watching this movie. Do I recommend you go watch this movie? Yes, I actually do recommend you go watch this movie. It is a very, very good movie, in my opinion, and I do recommend you go see this in the theater. Do not wait for it to be available on home video. Don't wait for it to be available on Disney Plus. Go watch this movie in the theater. Trust me, you want to see this movie with a crowd. It's like Infinity War and Endgame, where the best time to watch this movie is immediately when it gets released, right in the theater with a crowd. Trust me, you do not want to watch this movie on your own. Now, a couple of things that I do want to address, and this is probably not going to win me any favors with a lot of fans. I've been seeing some people, a couple of days ago when the movie had its premiere in Hollywood, and then a day earlier before I did, some people went to go see the movie. I've seen some people online say that this is the best Spider Man movie or this is the best comic book movie ever. Do I actually agree with those statements? Well, in regards to it being the best Spider Man movie, in my opinion, no. I don't think it's the best Spider Man movie. It is up there, but I don't think it's the best Spider Man movie. For me, Spider Man 2 and the original Spider Man are still better than this movie. And I would put Into the Spider Verse just slightly above this movie. I think the story is just a little bit stronger, but not by much. So, in my opinion, those three Spider Man movies are better than this one. That's my opinion on it. Now, as far as this being the best comic book movie ever made, no, that is without a doubt my answer to that is no. It is not the best comic book movie ever. I can name a few movies that are better than this, at least comic book movies. The Dark Knight, in my opinion, is a better movie. The first Avengers movie is a better movie. Is a better comic book movie. Logan is a better comic book movie. Hell, I would say the first Iron Man is a better comic book movie than this one. So, no, I do not agree with the statement that this is the best comic book movie ever made. And like I said, it is not the best Spider Man movie. However, it is without a doubt the best Tom Holland Spider Man movie. I was not really feeling the first two Spider Man movies with Tom Holland. Homecoming, I thought was meh. No Way Home, I didn't like No Way Home. This I really, really did enjoy because there's a lot of things that did happen here that made me like the movie a lot more that didn't happen in the first two movies. Again, I'm not going to go into spoilers because this is a non-spoiler review, so there won't be any spoilers. If you want me to do a full-on spoiler review, let me know in the comment section down below. But for now, it's going to be completely non-spoilers and no spoilers whatsoever. In regards to what I like the most about this movie, a lot of it does happen in the end. Again, don't worry, no spoilers. But something happens in the end. When we got there, when we got to the third act, I was kind of worried that maybe they were going to give us a cop out ending because it seemed like they were going to make a decision that's going to affect the future movies, the future Tom Holland movies. Because if you remember, I think they announced that there's going to be like a new trilogy with Tom Holland. And what they were going to do, or what it seemed like they were going to do at the end, I was worried, like I said, that they were going to give us a bit of a cop out. But thankfully, they didn't do that, and it made me like the movie more. If they gave us a cop out ending, then it would have severely drained my or lowered my opinion of this movie. But thankfully, they didn't do that. They actually did go through with it, which again, I give full credit to the movie for actually choosing to go through with it, as opposed to giving us sort of, like I said, the cop out ending. I'm happy that they didn't do that. And in regards to what they did, this is one of the reasons why I like this movie more as opposed to the first two movies because it has to do with consequences. So if you remember the story, and this all of this was in the trailer, so no spoilers. If you remember, Spider-Man goes to Doctor Strange and he asks him to basically cast a spell to have the world forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but it goes wrong, and that's where all the villains come in. Now you know all that from the trailer, and though that action does end up having consequences, which is one of the reasons, again, why I did like this movie, because when it comes to Homecoming and No Way Home, it didn't really feel like Peter Parker was facing any real consequences for his actions. You know what I mean? But this movie does fix that. And it's one of the reasons why I like this movie more than the other two, because usually in stories, I like it when characters' decisions and actions have consequences to them. So when they don't have consequences, it makes me not like that story a lot, because that's just not interesting. Then why would you? Because one of the reasons why you like watching stories, especially stories that actually progress as opposed to just keeping the status quo, is that characters' decisions, you want to see what effect that they're going to have. And if there's no effect, if there's no consequences, well, then what's the point? But this movie does address that, and it's one of the reasons why I like this movie I like this movie more than the first two. Now, again, I'm trying to keep myself as vague as possible, but something happens in the end that I think is going to please a lot of Spider-Man fans. Like, if you are a Spider-Man fan, what happens in the end is probably going to put a smile on your face. Now, look, do I think that this is a perfect movie? No, there are a lot of flaws in this movie. So I don't think that this is like as good of a movie as some people are hyping it up to be. This movie definitely has a lot of flaws. You end up having a lot of questions, especially in regards to certain creative decisions that they took when it comes to certain characters. You're left wondering, okay, well, wait a minute, like, how is this going to affect, those other things? Again, I'm trying to keep myself as vague as possible, but let's just say they made certain creative decisions that just make you question things. And also, when in regards to some of the things that do happen, you're left wondering, like, wait, how did this happen? And they never actually answer those questions. You see what I mean? So you're left wondering, okay, well, how is this happening when it doesn't really make a lot of sense, and you didn't even take the time to explain how this is even happening in the first place? So yeah, no, this movie is not perfect. If someone out there is saying this is a perfect movie, that is just false. Okay, this is not a perfect movie. Okay, like, a lot of the problems you can find in the second act, that's where a lot of the problems are. And also, the first act it was kind of weak. Like, if I'm being honest, the third act, in my opinion, is the best of the entire movie. Without a doubt, the third act is the best part of the entire movie, especially, like I said, the ending. Now, before I wrap up the video, there is one thing that I do want to talk about. And don't worry, again, like I said, no spoilers, but there was something that happened in this movie that really pissed me off. It really pissed me off. Again, I won't say what it is because spoilers, but as a Spider-Man fan, as a fan of the Spider-Man mythos, I am not happy with something that they did in this movie. I feel like someone watching this video, if you watch the movie, you probably know what it is that I'm referring to. So I won't say it, but if you know, also don't spoil it in the comment section. Don't spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched the movie. Wait a couple of days if you still want to comment. If you're watching this video a few days or a week after the movie's been released and everyone's already had a chance to see it, and if you want to comment below on whether you agree with me or not, then okay, fine. But if you're watching this as I uploaded, like a couple of days after I uploaded, then please do not spoil it in any way, shape, or form. So with that being said, just quick recap, I really like this movie. Don't think it's a perfect movie. In my opinion, I would say it's about a 7 or an 8 out of 10. You know what? I would say a 7.5 out of 10. This is not a perfect movie. I've seen some people say this is like a 10 out of 10, online. I don't agree with that at all. This movie is not a 10 out of 10. It is not flawless. Okay, like I said, the first act is weak. The second act has a lot of problems that make you, or there's a lot of things that happen that just make you ask questions, and they don't really explain things. And the third act is really, really good. So no, this is not a perfect movie. This has a lot of flaws. And do I recommend you go watch it in the theater? Yes, absolutely. Go watch it with a crowd. This movie treated like Endgame and Infinity War, where you have to watch it with a crowd. With that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts if you saw the movie or not. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know all that in the comment section down below. Like I said, no spoilers, and I hope to see you for my next movie review. Bye for now.